unsurprising. This is the biggest fight in Japanese history between two, elite Japanese fighters. And I understand styles make fights. I get it. But in this case, I guess what I'm reacting to is, Inoue is what I consider one of these super fighters. His speed, his reflexes, his power. Mike, what's the word I always like to use? The
twitchies?
Twitchies are different, right? They're elite. And Junto is like as good as it gets for a normally excellent fighter.
And I also think, I just won't be surprised. And as you all know, I already have. I'm going with Junto as a favorite in this, as far as my personal. So it won't be a big upset to me. I can't see someone with his type of technically sound game, with his system, with his work rate. I just don't see guys like that ever as an underdog.
Max Kellerman offers a detailed analysis of the highly anticipated showdown between Naoya Inoue and Junto Nakatani, breaking down their contrasting styles, strengths, and tactical approaches. The matchup features two of boxing's top pound-for-pound stars, with the world's #2 ranked fighter, Naoya the Monster Inoue, taking on #6 Junto Nakatani at the Tokyo Dome in Japan. Kellerman notes that despite the fight's significance, it has received limited attention in the United States, largely because it takes place in the lighter weight divisions and is being held in Japan, far from the American audience.
Of two top 10 pound-for-pound fighters. The #2 pound-for-pound fighter in all the world, the monster, Naoya Inoue, takes on #6 Junto Nakatani.
Kellerman views Naoya Inoue as the clear favorite at roughly 3-1 odds, but he cautions against overlooking Junto Nakatani. He compares the matchup to Tyson versus Holyfield, explaining that even a dominant favorite can be seriously tested by a skilled, dangerous challenger capable of pushing the very best to their limits.
Ordinarily, when you have a clash of top 10 pound-for-pounders, there's a lot of build-up. But this one feels as though, at least from where we're sitting in LA, that it's flown a bit under the radar. Now, in the first place, it's two tiny division fighters, right? Once you get below lightweight, especially featherweight, the American public has a tendency anyway to think, well, they're kind of tiny guys and be a little less interested. They're both Japanese fighters, and so the fight's taking place halfway around the world from here, and they haven't been marketed in this country the way they've been marketed in Japan for obvious reasons. And also, Inoue is about a 3-1 favorite, so it's not considered a 50.
While Max Kellerman leaned toward Naoya Inoue as the favorite, boxing insider Mike Coppinger disagreed, arguing that the matchup is much closer than many believe. He suggested the fight is highly competitive and far from being a one-sided contest.
Tyson Holyfield. Does this have a little shade of that, where Mike Tyson would have always been a big favorite against Holyfield, right? In retrospect, he shouldn't have been, but at the time he would have been. Then he loses, goes to prison, Holyfield becomes champion. And going into their fight, which had been postponed for years, Mike hadn't looked as good since he was still champ. He had looked better than he had in years, beating the hell out of Frank Bruno. Better than he'd beaten Frank Bruno the first time, even though Bruno was coming off a good win. While Holyfield fought a blown-up middleweight, ultimately, in Bobby Ches, and looked horrible. So heading into that fight, people thought Tyson would win anyway, but now it was like, okay. Inoue looked better than Nakatani last time out.
Jesse Bam Rodriguez said he has great respect for both Naoya Inoue and Junto Nakatani, describing them as elite champions. However, he gives a slight edge to Inoue because of his speed, power, and experience. Rodriguez also made it clear that he is ready to face the winner at any time, believing that matchup is inevitable if he continues winning.
Much closer to a 55-45 fight, maybe in favor of Inoue. And look, Inoue he's a future Hall of Famer, first ballot. He's an all-time great, so he deserves that respect. And I was ringside on the call for those two fights in December in Riyadh. And like Malik said, that was a really tough style. Nakatani, Sebastian Hernandez, pressure style, Mexican, first fight of 122. So to me, I felt more encouraged going into this fight instead of less. And I just think maybe it's falling under the radar because it's going to be on very early morning in the U.S., this fight's in Japan. Just this morning they announced, Max, this is a sold-out fight at the Tokyo Dome. They're going to have 55,000.
Veteran trainer Joel Diaz believes Naoya Inoue possesses too much power and precision for Junto Nakatani, predicting that Inoue will secure a stoppage victory. Diaz says Inoue's timing, body attack, and elite finishing ability will gradually wear Nakatani down and end the fight before the final bell.
Down the line, not next, but definitely down the line, would love to see you fight either against Nakatani or Inoue. Do you want to maybe say who you favor in that fight between the two?
I think Inoue wins the fight. just because he has more experience. He's been in the weight division longer than Nakatani has, so I do favor Inoue, but Nakatani, he does have a chance as well just because he has that kind of one-punch power.
Maybe that could be the big fight in your hometown, right?
Yeah, hopefully. If not, I don't mind going to Japan either. I love going to Japan. I love spending. Yeah, I love spending time there. So.
Oh, so you have traveled there before?
Yeah, I've been there plenty of times. But like I said, either San Antonio or Japan. I don't care.
Multi-division world champion Naoya Inoue described Naoya Inoue as the toughest and hardest-hitting opponent he has ever faced. Inoue praised Inoue's explosive power, pinpoint accuracy, and relentless pressure, admitting their battles pushed him to his absolute limit while showcasing Inoue's elite greatness.
Inoue, you faced him a couple times against Nakatani. Just how do you think how one goes?
You know, I've been against Inoue twice. You know, and I seen that fighter in person. I mean, I've been in the ring with him. He's fast. He's strong, confident. And I've also been against Nakatani. I've been against Nakatani before with Tito Acosta. I just think that Nakatani will put up a fight, but Inoue will stop it.
He's been dropped by a few left hands. Donaire hurt him with a left hand.
But he gets up and he still wins. But I just think that Nakatani, I mean, he's not ready for Inoue yet. I just think that fight will end up with a knock.
Chris Algieri expects Naoya Inoue to win a close and competitive fight against Junto Nakatani, likely by unanimous or majority decision rather than an early knockout. He predicts a tactical battle filled with momentum swings, possible knockdowns on both sides, and high-level exchanges fueled by each fighter's power, timing, and precision.
It's down to a lot of things, you know. I think the best guy that I faced, and maybe perhaps if I was younger, it might be a different story, but at the moment of who I am in this time, I would say Inoue is the toughest that I've faced, or the strongest that I've faced.
You mentioned Inoue as probably potentially the best fighter that you faced in your career. What is it about him that gives you that distinction?
I think it was like facing the younger me. You know, there's just a lot of similarities in terms of power, explosiveness, and sometimes intelligence. You know, but I think a lot of it is given the similarities is what makes it.
Mike Coppinger believes that if Naoya Inoue defeats Junto Nakatani in convincing fashion, he could claim the #1 spot in the pound-for-pound rankings ahead of Alexander Usyk. However, he notes that the outcome would also depend on Usyk's standing and the overall landscape of elite boxing at that time.
The one that's going to be neck and neck. I'm going off of Inoue because of the experience that he has and who he's done it with. You know, that Fulton destruction was a beautiful thing, and that was all boxing IQ. That was an IQ. That wasn't about speed. That wasn't about power. That was IQ, and he set everything up beautifully with the jab. So, yeah, I'm gonna go Naoya Inoue on IQ as well.
All right, it's time for our predictions. Inoue versus Nakatani. I always go first. I'm putting you on the...
Malik Scott believes Naoya Inoue deserves to be ranked either #1 or right alongside Alexander Usyk on the pound-for-pound list. He bases that opinion on the elite opposition Inoue has already defeated and the dangerous challengers still ahead of him, strengthening his argument as boxing's best fighter.
Then have a case for Usyk's #1 pound-for-pound spot? Mike?
Yes, absolutely, Max. I mean, we're talking about knocking off the pound guy. If he does it in fashion, I think you have to put Inoue #1 at that point. I mean, obviously, especially when you compare Usyk's going to be fighting Rico Verhoeven, right, a kickboxer, so he's not going to be able to really strengthen his resume, even if he blows out Verhoeven. Whereas if Inoue, if he beats Nakatani in fashion, in convincing, I think you have.
Max Kellerman acknowledged that, on paper, Naoya Inoue appears to be the bigger and more accomplished fighter, but he warned against oversimplifying his success while moving through the weight classes. Kellerman explained that although Inoue has climbed multiple divisions, each move has involved only a small increase in weight, unlike some of boxing's historic jumps. He also questioned whether Inoue's devastating power would remain as effective against naturally larger opponents, suggesting that elite fighters such as Rafael Espinoza could reveal the limits of his abilities as the challenges of size, durability, and competition continue to increase.
You know, if you start fighting the wrestler or the kickboxer, it makes it hard, especially if people are bringing up, what about Caballel? What about obviously Moses Atama? And you're opting instead, or the names you're mentioning, how about this kickboxer? How about Deontay Wilder, who's past his prime? And you're 38 years old? I think what Mike is saying has validity. Where are you with that?
I'm with Mike on that totally, especially it doesn't help right now because Usyk is fighting, a kickboxer. He's basically taking a chance with something that, many of us wouldn't even consider a risk with the kickboxer. And then when you turn the page and you look at what Inoue is facing and maybe possibly facing in the future, considering Espinoza, considering Van Rodriguez, I would say you have to put him right under Usyk, if not over time.
If Naoya Inoue is victorious, many experts believe his next fight should be against either Jesse Bam Rodriguez or Rafael Espinoza. Both are viewed as dangerous, high-risk, high-reward opponents capable of defining Inoue's legacy. Rodriguez offers elite speed, skill, and pound-for-pound talent, while Espinoza brings size, pressure, and physical strength in a higher weight class. Malik Scott argues that a fighter of Inoue's caliber should only face elite challengers capable of beating him, not simply credible contenders. In his view, Bam Rodriguez and Rafael Espinoza represent the two most meaningful tests available and the most compelling challenges for Inoue moving forward.
Okay,
that's a great one.
agree with you on paper. However, again, Inoue has already jumped a bunch of divisions.
Right.
Now, let's not overstate it. In that weight territory, a division is 4 pounds. So it's not like he moved up the way Pacquiao moved all the way up to junior middleweight. But he has moved up a bunch.
He's nice though, Max.
He's nice with his hands, but also he was a devastating puncher until just now.
Yes.
And now you're asking him to go one more division up to fight a killer in that division. You like Inoue's chances more than Shushu's or Angelo Leo or anyone?
I like Inoue. He has a ceiling though. He has a ceiling concerning going up in the weight classes.
Inoue.
Yes, but to be clear, I'm not saying I'd pick Inoue over Espinoza. You said the best shot. Yes, for me it's no question because the only elite fighter I think at featherweight is Espinoza. And I agree, Shushu in a couple of more fights will be more ready. I don't think Shushu's ever going to be on the level of Espinoza the way I see him right now. And I think if he talks to people behind the scenes, that's the convention.
Jesse Rodriguez has made it clear that he is ready to face Naoya Inoue next, expressing confidence that the fight is only a matter of time. He believes that as long as both continue winning, the matchup will naturally come together. Rodriguez has even stated he is willing to travel to Japan to make the fight easier to arrange, highlighting his eagerness for the challenge. He views Inoue as one of the toughest tests of his career, and with discussions already taking place between promoters and both camps showing interest, the fight is widely considered one of boxing's most anticipated future matchups.
Would you then most like to see him face next, Mike? Is it like, let's hold on, let's just say, is it anyone other than either Bam moving up or Inoue moving up to fight Espinoza?
No, that's it. Those are the two options, Max, and I want to see Bam first before Inoue moves up. We have Bam moving up to 118 in June for the first time, so he's getting closer now, and I want to see that fight next if Inoue does win as expected. Again, I'm not thinking of Nakatani at all, though. I think Nakatani's going to give Inoue all he can handle. But just talking about lower weights, Inoue and Bam Rodriguez is one of the biggest fights probably in history, below 126.
Yeah, I agree. I think Bam, the reason, Malik, that you look at Inoue and Bam, should Inoue beat Nakatani, is those are both special, super, top 5 pound for pound, twitchy, speed, power, skill, the whole thing type fighters, and that's always a super.
Junto Nakatani has openly praised Naoya Inoue, calling him the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in boxing. According to Nakatani, Inoue's combination of speed, power, timing, and ring intelligence separates him from every other active fighter. He emphasized that Inoue's ability to dominate across multiple weight divisions while maintaining knockout power is exceptionally rare. Nakatani also acknowledged how difficult it is to prepare for someone with Inoue's precision and relentless pressure, noting that very few fighters possess such a complete skill set. Despite being a top contender himself, Nakatani spoke with admiration rather than rivalry, reinforcing the belief that Inoue stands at or near the top of the pound-for-pound rankings.
Inoue finally getting in there, that's a fight that will define this era in the lower weight classes.
I think so. I think me against Inoue would definitely be, if not one of the biggest fights in the 4-weight divisions.
Do you have a preference?
Tim Bradley explained that Junto Nakatani is a clever, long, and rangy fighter who relies heavily on controlling distance. However, Bradley noted that when opponents close the gap, Nakatani becomes especially dangerous by punching between combinations and capitalizing on openings during exchanges. He believes that timing and countering ability could create real problems for Naoya Inoue if he makes mistakes. Bradley also pointed out that Inoue occasionally drops his opposite hand while throwing powerful shots and can become slightly off balance when he misses. With his reach advantage and sharp counter timing, Nakatani will try to exploit those moments. Even so, Bradley emphasized that Inoue's greatest strength is his ability to adapt, adjusting his rhythm, distance, and tactics throughout the fight, making this a highly technical, tactical, and explosive matchup.
Who do you think is pound for pound #1 boxer on the planet right now?
今パウンドパウンドで一番強い選手っていうのはどなたというふうにお考えですか？
まあ僕の名前を言いたいところですけど、まあ井上選手を評価しているので、まあその井上選手に勝ってパウンドフォーパウンド1位になりたいなっていうふうに思ってます。
I would have been preferred if I could say I myself, but he's embarrassed, but Inoue.
Tim Bradley explained that Junto Nakatani is a clever, long, and rangy fighter who relies heavily on controlling distance. However, Bradley noted that when opponents close the gap, Nakatani becomes especially dangerous by punching between combinations and capitalizing on openings during exchanges. He believes that timing and countering ability could create real problems for Naoya Inoue if he makes mistakes. Bradley also pointed out that Inoue occasionally drops his opposite hand while throwing powerful shots and can become slightly off balance when he misses. With his reach advantage and sharp counter timing, Nakatani will try to exploit those moments. Even so, Bradley emphasized that Inoue's greatest strength is his ability to adapt, adjusting his rhythm, distance, and tactics throughout the fight, making this a highly technical, tactical, and explosive matchup.
He's a clever fighter, man. He is. He's a very long, rangy type of fighter, but he needs distance. Oh yeah, he needs distance. But in the meantime, while you try to close distance and you let your hands go, he's looking to punch in between your shots too. And that's why I think he can catch and hurt in a way for real. That's why I think in between, in a way probably would throw a big shot. Usually when he throws big punches, he drops the opposite hand. Or usually when Inoue throws a big shot and if he misses, he's out of position sometimes. And Nakatani gonna be looking to fill those holes, man. He gonna look to fill those holes. Remember, he got the longer reach. He's at 68.5, not that much, 1 inch. Believe it or not, Inoue got some pretty long arms, you know, for 5'5" at 67.5. But there's gonna be a height difference, so Inoue's gonna have to, you know, punch up, you know, at Nakatani, you know, which could shorten that distance a little bit for him. You know, he's gonna have to really step in, and I think that's the beauty about it.
A victory over Naoya Inoue would be a career-defining achievement for Junto Nakatani and could dramatically elevate his status in the boxing world. Since Inoue is widely recognized as one of the sport's elite pound-for-pound fighters, an upset victory would instantly enhance Nakatani's global reputation and establish him as one of boxing's biggest names. It would likely lead to major pay-per-view opportunities and championship fights across multiple weight divisions. Such a win could also accelerate his move into higher weight classes, where even bigger and more lucrative legacy-defining matchups await. Defeating a fighter of Inoue's caliber would cement Nakatani's place among boxing's elite and significantly increase demand for his future fights.
If Junto Nakatani springs the upset, Malik, you said it wouldn't even be an upset, right? Do you think that would mean, as I said earlier, we would see a rematch because Inoue is such a big star? Or are there other possibilities for Nakatani, Malik?
Max, it's this thing in boxing that goes on, right? That sometimes when the right guy wins, big things happen in boxing, bigger things happen in boxing. But in this case, not saying Nakatani would be the wrong guy, but the numbers say that he shouldn't win. And if he wins, he doesn't, in my opinion, people won't call for and demand the crossover fights like him fighting Ben Rodriguez, like him fighting Espinoza. And that's just like that I would like that. That would be a little bit the unfair part about boxing is because some guys are picked because the bigger fights fans get more excited about, and if the underdog, quote unquote, with Nakatani is supposed to be coming and win, a lot of people's like, okay, well, I guess where do we go from here now? They're not as excited. But saying that still, I still have Nakatani winning.
Who do you think wins this fight? Will Naoya Inoue's devastating power prove too much, or will Junto Nakatani's exceptional timing make the difference? Share your prediction in the comments below.